Okay, why would we soak in magnesium when there's Epsom salts? Why would you spend that much more money on magnesium when there's magnesium flakes that are a lot cheaper? So, today in our magnesium 30-day challenge, I want to not make the decision for you, but lay down some questions for you to ask yourself to determine what the best fit is for you. Now, anytime someone's talking, they're looking through their own filter. Like right now, my goal was to go walk the beach for this, and it is so windy, you wouldn't have been able to hear me. So I ran back to my car. I'm sitting in my car, and the only parking spot I am full on facing the sun and can't see the screen without my sunglasses on. They're filtering for me right now, just like my sunglasses are filtering for me right now so that I can hop on this live. We have filters in how we view things. So, my filter when I view things are simple. Is that action getting me to where I want to be? And is it a long term fix or a short term fix? I don't do short term fixes. So, for example, my old Diet Coke habit was a short term fix. Yes, it gave me energy. Yes, it got me through the day. But long term, it gave me bone issues, it gave me gut issues. All sorts of things were happening. So, I'm into long term solutions. And then I like the lazy way. So I just want to do things really, really simple. And I want to put the least amount of effort in for maximum benefit. Everything I do, the food I eat, the systems and processes I have in my home, how I clean out my car, it's the lazy way. It's the least amount of work for maximum benefit. And I do that same thing when it comes to soaking in magnesium. And this is the 30-day challenge. My name is Kristen Bowen. I'm the founder of Living the Good Life Naturally, and I always do a 30-day challenge in August to make sure that I'm going into the fall strong. And I think this fall is a little bit different. I think it's more important than any season we've ever had to go into the fall with a strong immune system. And to do that, you need strong, active vitamin D, not just stored, but active vitamin D. And to convert your stored vitamin D into active vitamin D, guess what you need? Magnesium. So that's what one of the reasons that we do the 30-day magnesium challenge in August. So let's talk about those Epsom salts and the magnesium flakes. So Epsom salts, I'm going to pop some of these comments up here. I can't see them too well because the sun is so bright. And we're just going to pop a few up. So one of the reasons that I don't use Epsom salts is realistic expectations. Let's look at my goal. My goal is magnesium cell saturation. When every cell in my body is surrounded by magnesium, and I have enough magnesium to give my mitochondria, which are the powerhouse of your cell, to give them enough magnesium to start 55 different things in your mitochondria. That's a lot of magnesium. And so I want cell saturation. And that's when you go, and we'll talk about that later. Okay. We'll talk about what cell saturation is and how to test it and how to get there. So I want enough magnesium in my body to move my red blood cell numbers up. Okay, so that's my goal with magnesium. It's not just to relieve a muscle pain, even though it does that. It's not just to relax my shoulders, even though it does that. It is to move the red blood cell numbers. Even in the car with the steering wheel, my arm's getting tired. So it's to move those red blood cell numbers. So soaking in Epsom salts is similar, but not the same. So here's some information for you to decide if you want to do Epsom salts, if you want to soak in magnesium, or use magnesium flakes. Epsom salts are, they have magnesium and they have sulfates, which are really good for liver detoxification. The magnesium that you and I are soaking in, that you purchase at livingthegoodlifenaturally.com, it has no sulfates, none. It is magnesium chloride. There are no sulfates like the magnesium sulfate of Epsom salts, okay? So you do not get the sulfates, but there is not enough magnesium in Epsom salts to move your red blood cell numbers to get you to cell saturation. So it's kind of like, I think of it like this. If you came to me and you said, Kristen, paint this beautiful watercolor and I want it to look just like this. That is unrealistic expectations because I just started doing watercolor and I'm not an advanced watercolor person. I am a baby stage beginner. So you just put unrealistic expectations on me because I don't have advanced watercolor skills. It's not that I don't want to. It's not that there's a block there. I don't have the skills yet. I just barely started. Epsom salts do not have the magnesium to get you to cell saturation. There is not enough, but they do have sulfates, and sulfates are good for liver function. So my goal is cell saturation. So I like to add the Epsom salts to the magnesium sulfate, to the magnesium chloride when I'm soaking. But we're going to talk more about other things that you can add into the magnesium later on. So the other one, and this one I get, these two questions I probably have gotten every day for the last 10 or 15 years. And that is, why can't I use magnesium flakes? They're so much cheaper. And again, we need to go to what your goal is. If your goal is to use magnesium flakes, make your own magnesium oil from the magnesium flakes, you will relax some muscles, but you're not going to get to cell saturation. And here's why. It takes 400 cups. 400! That's a lot of cups. 400 cups of magnesium flakes to equal a quarter cup of magnesium chloride. Now remember, my goal and my filter is least amount of energy in for maximum benefits. Do you know how many bags of magnesium flakes you would need? 400 cups every time you soaked? That's ridiculous. Now, for cell saturation. Now, if you just want a little bit of magnesium to like relax you down, use magnesium flakes. I personally wouldn't because they're a processed magnesium product. They have gone through a process to turn magnesium chloride into magnesium flakes, and it reduces their ability to move your red blood cell numbers. So not only does it take 400 cups, they're less effective. Think of it from wheat bread to white bread. It loses nutrition in the processing. Magnesium loses efficiency in the processing from chloride to flakes. So for me, magnesium flakes are just not a good fit. I want, and I'm single focused with my magnesium. I want cell saturation, period. I want enough magnesium so that my body is activating my stored vitamin D and utilizing it to protect me from cancer, to protect my bones, to protect my hormones, to boost my thyroid function, to improve gut function, to increase neurotransmitters to the brain, to reduce glutamate activity in the brain, which leads to more depression and anxiety. Those are the reasons I want to be at cell saturation. And if Epsom salts and magnesium flakes can't get me there, then I'm putting unrealistic expectations on those two products for what my end goal is. Now, you may not care about cell saturation. You may not care how healthy your bones are. You may not care where your active is at. Here's why I think you should care. Stored vitamin D and active vitamin D are two different numbers. If you've only gotten one number tested, you don't have a full picture of your vitamin D. We know that when you have more active vitamin D than stored vitamin D, your body's ability to fight virus and bacterial infections increase. Going into the fall, I want my body in tip top shape to fight viral and bacterial infections. I want my immune system so strong in the winter that when the sun is not at its peak for me and can't give me that boost of vitamin D, that I have enough magnesium to activate my pineal gland and have that pineal gland utilize and spread vitamin D throughout my body, because I went into the fall and winter with strong magnesium levels. If you've ever had your vitamin D tested and it's low, that's a magnesium issue, not a vitamin D issue, because they're testing one vitamin D, your stored vitamin D, and if it's low, you don't have enough magnesium to move those numbers. So if your vitamin D's ever been low, we've got a magnesium issue. And why would you have a magnesium issue? So let's look back. This is a little, and some of you won't like this, and that's okay, just hop off. Let's have a little accountability time. The last 24 hours, have you pulled in grandma wisdom to be healthy? How much sugar have you had? How much water have you had? How much stress have you had? How much sleep have you had? How busy have you been? Have you had moments to just be instead of being a human doing all day long? Have you created those moments to just be? How connected are you to other people? How much depression do you have? How much anxiety do you have? All of those things are connected to active and stored vitamin D. And to get the balance of active and stored vitamin D, you need to have your red blood cell numbers move up. And to have those red blood cell numbers move up, soaking in magnesium. If you take that much oral magnesium, it's going to give you digestive issues because of our lifestyles, because we're inside too much, because many are eating way too much sugar, because we're eating oils that cause inflammation, because we're eating processed foods, because we're not sleeping enough. Our magnesium levels are at an all-time low. You cannot create health in a body that is overly calcified. We need a magnesium rich environment. And to do that, soaking in magnesium is the way to go to move those red blood cell numbers. And it is so exciting to me to see more and more studies coming out with soaking. Because when I started talking about this 20 years ago, people thought it, a lot of people, not everybody, but doctors, I mean, even natural medicine, like functional med doc, they were like, I don't know if magnesium can make it through the skin barrier. Now there's studies showing the benefits to pineal. Pineal is your sunshine gland. If that pineal is calcified because you're low in magnesium, which means calcium is unbound in your body, it's not going to do hormone function very well. And so that magnesium breaks up and balances the excess calcium in your body. It's crucial. It's so important. Soaking in magnesium if you want to go into the fall with a strong immune system that can fight off virus and bacteria. Super important to me. So glad that you joined me today with my glasses on. It's really bright though. With my glasses on for this 30-day magnesium challenge. I want to know, does that clarify it for you between Epsom salts and magnesium salt flakes? Does that did that help you make a decision? Because there's different pathways you can take. You can take that oral magnesium. You can take the Epsom salts. You can take the magnesium flakes. You can soak in magnesium. My goal, my agenda for today was to help you understand if you're like me and you don't want to depend on a broken medical system. You want to be healthy so you don't have to use that system. I'm grateful that system's there. There's amazing people within that system. Even the people in the system will tell you it's broken. I don't want to depend on that system. I want a strong, healthy body. And when we have enough magnesium, it boosts digestion, our enzymes change, our liver health changes. And remember, I'm not saying it's going to cure everything because it won't. It is the first place that you start. And so that's why in August you and I are soaking in magnesium. And I would love to know, when is your favorite time of day that you soak in magnesium? Do you soak in the morning? Do you soak at night? Have you ever added Epsom salts to your magnesium? I usually, if I'm soaking in a bowl of water with just my feet, I usually add anywhere from 3/4 of a cup to a cup in the water that I'm soaking in, depending on how much water. Because when you soak in magnesium, you only need enough water for the bottom of your feet to make contact. Some people will put it clear up past their ankle, and that's fine if you're more comfortable with that and you like your ankles covered. But technically, to get the benefit of the magnesium, you only need it touching the bottom of your feet. So if you only put that much water in, then I wouldn't use a whole cup of Epsom salts. I would use maybe a quarter cup. So you really have to gauge it in how much water you're putting in. But remember, when you're uptaking and your lymph is pumping that good magnesium, it's also pumping the sulfates from the Epsom salts. I don't use them every time I soak, not every single time. But when I do have a bag, I like to throw in a handful or two just to help boost my magnesium soak and to boost my liver function, because anything we do to boost liver boosts our mental health and our physical health. So, tomorrow I am going to have better plans. I'm not going to have glasses on. I will plan it out better that it's not too windy to be outside and not too sunny to sit in the car and do our challenge together. I want to know, how is it going for you? Share with me, what day are you on your 30-day challenge? And tomorrow I'll be back to share just a couple more comments, just a few more things about magnesium and your 30-day soaking challenge to make it your most productive, easiest, most beneficial 30-day challenge you've ever done. See you tomorrow.